Greetings, today I'm installing the secondary intake pipe from Mountune. Alright, so we are under the bonnet and this is the piece that we are replacing right here, the secondary intake tube or crossover pipe, whatever you want to call it, and it's going to match in really nice with this and just complete the intake really nice. So as you can see, I've already got the engine cover off. Just yank it off, it's just on these like little posts, and then we can get right into it and get this done. So it may not be the logical first thing that we need to do, but there is a jubilee clip or hose clamp that is connecting this, which we are trying to remove, to the turbo elbow thing. Now the reason why I'm telling you to look at this first is that this is a bit of a tight space and it's kind of hard to get in here. My initial thought was just to use a bendy screwdriver, but it seems to be a bit of a luck of the draw type of thing, because my like clamp, it was like right away at the far side, which meant that I couldn't get enough angle with this alone, so I had to use one of these, this like right angle bit holder, and then I've just got a 7mm socket on the end of that, and that gave me the angle that I needed to get in there and to loosen it. So my suggestion would be, make sure that you've got the tools, make sure that you can get in there and get at your clamp in whatever configuration you just happen to have got from the factory, before you proceed ripping anything else out, because you don't want to have ripped this out and then have to put it back in because you can't get the right angle. So it's super hard to see this, it's even too hard for me to see it, but it's because it's really in there and kind of dark. But you can see I've got this in here and I've got that on the end there, and that's on the jubilee clip. So then I'm just going to twist that, loosen it, and then that'll be that loosened and ready to come out. Okay, now that I've made sure that I can get that jubilee clip off, I'm going to move on and take out the first part, the first half of the intake. So I'm going to try and get away with just doing it with removing this clamp and this one right here, and then just taking this bit and having this bit still connected. So the first thing actually is to just remove this to give us a bit more space. So this little square thing, we just push that in and then jiggle this off like so. Then around here it's just kind of like attached to this, we just sort of jiggle it off, which is easier said than done with one hand. There we are. And then that just clips on then around the back, just like so. Now you can see that's totally loose. Then I'm back with my 7mm socket. Just get that nice and loose. And then the same with this one. So this one I'm just going to kind of shimmy it down and drop it down there and leave it like that. This one, obviously, we need to make sure that this doesn't fall whenever we're taking this off. So then the last thing on this side is this little bolt right here, which requires an 8mm socket. So now that everything is loosened and or off, we can get this out. So now that the first half is out, we can move on to the second half of the crossover and get that out, which is, as you can see, it's actually not on there very tightly at all. But anyway, so this nut is 10mm, so we need a 10mm socket. This one, which is also one of the engine cover posts, requires a 13mm deep socket. Okay, now that those are off, the next thing is, if you didn't at the start fully loosen the little jubilee clamp that is down in there, do so now, and then we'll be ready to pull this bad boy out. Apart from around here, there, can you see that? Just right there at the back that connects in here. I believe this is coming from the crankcase to vent some vapor in here, so we need to get that off. It is what you would call a knurl tab, so you just kind of press and pull. So that is loosened now, so we just kind of bring it around towards ourselves, twist it as we come out. There we go. Our coupler actually didn't come out whenever we did that, but this is it. So this is actually a super interesting point. This is the coupler which actually came loose from the pipe itself, and you can see oil that's on here, so this kind of emphasizes. I think I need to get myself some catch can action, but that'll be a thing for a different day. But yeah, so that's it out, so now we can get the Mountune part in. This is probably a good time to show you the top of the turbo elbow, which is of course part of the stock turbo. It's integrated in there already. But yeah, you can just see that now that the stock secondary crossover pipe thingamabob is out. Okay, so we can check out these two bad boys side by side now. So obviously the Mountune piece is made out of metal, the stock piece is made out of plastic. This does have a bigger bore certainly here and at the other end as well. The stock piece, you can kind of see here, it just really thins out for some reason. So this will be removing a little bit of restriction. The main thing though, I think, is visual. It's just going to look really nice and of course match in with the first half of the Mountune intake that we have already. So yeah, it's just going to be really, really nice, and it could potentially form part of future upgrades. We'll just have to see about that. But yeah, so the first thing we need to do actually is remove these little grommets and install them into the Mountune piece to allow it to be secured in the exact same way as before. So it's quite simple. You just push the little metal top hat thing out like that, squeeze out the rubber grommet like that, and then on the Mountune bit you squeeze in the little rubber bit like that, and then just push the little metal top hat through the middle like so, and then repeat for the other one. Okay, we are ready for the next stage, which is to get our coupler from Mountune put on top of the turbo elbow, and that is secured with the provided jubilee clips or hose clamps, whatever you want to call them. So we put this in, then we'll get one of these on here. Now I would suggest, of course, angling the Mountune logo towards the front of the car so that you can see it if you should ever happen to be down in there. But I'd also, whenever putting this on, I would angle the actual clip towards the front as well to make it easier to secure and ever remove if you need to. What I was trying to explain earlier, before with my stock one, it was like all the way around, like at the back like that, so it made it really awkward to get in there at that angle. So you can see I've got that in place. It was really, really simple, really easy just to push it right on. On the turbo elbow itself, there's like a little metal lip, so you just push it all the way down until it touches the lip, and that is it. You know that it's in the right position. Now we just put a hose clamp over the top of that and tighten it down. Alright, so that is that jubilee clip now nicely tightened on. It wasn't quite so much of a straight shoot, so I had to use this sort of bendy extension just to get a little bit of an angle. Didn't need anywhere near as much angle as getting the stock part off, but I did need a little bit of extra angle just to get it on there. But yeah, so that's it on. So now I'm going to put the second clamp over the top of that. I need to have that clip on there before we put the secondary intake pipe in. So you can kind of see there now I've got both of the clamps in there. The bottom one is nice and tight, the top one is loose. Okay, now we're ready to get the Mountune piece in. So first we're going to fish it in kind of like this, and then around a bit, and then down kind of in the exact same way that we took the other piece out. It's just a tight space, you have to sort of angle it and move it and whatnot. And then we're going to get it into the coupler, and we'll connect our crankcase oil thingamabob onto this beautifully machined metal bit. And then yeah, we'll just tighten everything down. Alright, nice. So that clicked with a really nice reassuring click, so you know it's in there. As you can see, this has lined up really nicely. You do need to have this, the top hat thing, over the top of this as you're pushing this down, otherwise you'll never get it back over it. So it is just a little bit, maybe a little bit tricky just to hover that over there and then shimmy this down. But then once you get it in, it's beautiful and nicely aligned and in place. So now I need to tighten, well, position and tighten the second jubilee clip onto the coupler, joining the coupler to the secondary intake pipe. Never going to be able to see it with the camera, so I'm just going to do it, and then I'll try and get you a nice camera angle afterwards. So now that the hose clamps are all nicely tightened on the coupler, we can move on to these two bad boys again. So we'll bring back our like post thing from earlier, just sort of position that. Didn't require too much manipulation. Of course I'm doing this with one hand as well, which makes it all the more difficult. So get that in hand tight first, and then our little nut from the other one. Beautiful. So then to tighten, 10mm on this one, and we're not tightening very much, we're just sort of getting it sort of snug, and then we'll stop. And then the exact same thing with our 13mm deep socket on the post. Alright, that is technically the secondary intake pipe installed. We just need to get our primary intake pipe from Mountune and get that reinstalled right here in this gap, and then we'll be installation complete. I'll just fly through this real quick. If you want a little bit more detail and slowed down version of it, you can check out the video that I did on it a while back. I'll put a link into the description box below. Well, there we go, that is the installation complete of the Mountune secondary intake pipe on my Focus RS. Looking absolutely fantastic. It may give a little bit of a performance gain in the short term, but in the long term, like I said earlier, it could form part of a potential future upgrade, a stage 3 perhaps, who knows. But for now, at the very least, it is lovely, engine bay handy. But yeah, I like it, I hope you like it, I hope you like this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please do like, share and subscribe for more content to come very, very soon. Thank you once again, goodbye.